This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Frontier. But before that, this video is brought to you by Greg Nielsen and Nuka-Cola. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Frontier map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let me read you some of the description. Welcome to Frontier, a fictional map located in a border region with a great wall separating the regions. On one hand, agriculture has been losing space to the growth of a big city. On the other side, a large desert with lots of space and being very, very rich in oil. This map contains 100 purchasable lands, 50 fields, a custom soil map, collectibles, various points of sale, platinum DLC sell point is supported, various new productions, train, and it is possible to sell all pallets by the train. Dirt roads are difficult to pass. You can use levelers or buckets to remove the excess dirt. To transport oil, you can use one of the two trailers in the miscellaneous category. Some products in the pallets category can be purchased and used in the new productions. Added concentrated herbicide and liquid fertilizer for higher yield. Use the dilution tank available in the store as well. Some of the new pallets are very large. You can use the large shed to store them in the silos category. Some decorations can be moved by cutting specific signs on the residential land, which includes residential areas near and around the shop, as well as a portion of the Great Wall. Well, let's go ahead and load on in. Now, this map has an interesting assortment of required mods. There are buildings and there are tools and implements and vehicles. So in addition to the mods, we typically use when we take a look at maps, which is additional field info, additional game settings, field calculator, and precision farming. We are also going to be using the American Farmhouse, the Case IH Magnum 7200 Pro Series. We also then have the Cooverland Enduro Pro 5000F, the Cooverland iXter B18, the Lizard Apache Fleetside 1958 pickup truck, the New Holland 8340, the New Holland TX32, the Old Time Shed Pack, as well as the Telehandler pallet fork. Now, I will tell you, if you load this map up in Farm Manager mode or start from scratch, you will find the main farm is not quite built out exactly how you see it here in New Farmer mode. One, you do not have any starting machinery other than the old time pickup truck. And two, you are missing a 3-bay garage shed as well as a small greenhouse. But everything else that we do see here on New Farmer mode, you will be seeing in those alternate play modes as well. And of course, you do not own the land. When we load into the map for the very, very first time, we start here at the Case IH Agricultural Dealership. Now, there was a comment recently in another video where they were saying that they had not seen a map that had a Case IH dealership. Well, here we go. In recent times, we've got two, actually. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. And this is another interesting item about the map. So we've got to our right and kind of the southern third of the map, maybe a little more than a third. We have agriculture, we've got some forestry, we've got some pre-built farms, we've got all of our sell points for the most part, and we've got all of our production. And then to the west and north, basically, we have barren desert. There are a couple sell points scattered around and some oil production areas scattered around to that area. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our crop types. We do have all the standard crop types available to us in Farm Sim 22. And if we take a look at the lands area, you see that the desert is separated up into buyable parcels of land. And then we specifically own Farmland ID 1, which is the main starting farm. We can buy that in alternate play modes for $32,000. We also own Farmland 4, which is going to be Field 1. That can be bought for $82,000. Then we have a couple residential areas we can buy. Residential area Farmland ID 2, Farmland ID 3, and Farmland ID 5. And if we buy those residential areas, they do have poles that we can cut down, and then all of the buildings and such do vanish here with an exception. And we will be talking about that exception here shortly. Now, with respect to this part of the Great Wall, we can remove the southern portion of the Great Wall by coming over here and clicking on this small square located right there. And when we do that, we can buy Farmland ID 100 for $209,000. And when we buy Farmland ID 100, we can also click that right there. Then we will have the option of cutting down that post that is located right there. And when we do cut down that post, we will have the option of getting rid of that Great Wall. Now, one thing that I have not been able to figure out how to do is how to get rid of this portion of the wall. I do not know if this portion of the Great Wall is actually removable or not. Now, in addition to the main starting farm, there are some other farm areas available on the map. We have a cow farm here at Farmland 18. It also includes a field that can be bought for $859,000. We have Farmland ID 29. That is a horse area that can be bought for $151,000. Then we have some homesteads. Basically, we have tents or trailers that are located in the woods. So they're going to be here at Farmland ID 46. They're also going to be at Farmland ID 58, 57, 61, as well as 60 and 56. So if you buy those specific plots, you will find scattered around those plots either tents or trailers that you can buy. And then that's why I'm calling it homestead. You're kind of starting from bare minimum, then you can work your way up. We do have several various field sizes also available on the map. And to that end, we also have a BGA, which is at Farmland ID 15 for $202,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. The farmland lease screen shows all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, and if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included. Then lastly, it's going to show us how much is that farmland going to cost us. You see, the smaller plots are obviously very, very affordable. Let me get into some of the larger plots. We're talking a couple $100,000 here, with the largest plots being 13 and 11 hectares in size, $942,000 and $806,000 respectively. We take a look at our field calculator screen. Now this is going to show us the specific sizes of each particular field. Then we can go back to the farmland lease screen and cross-reference the field numbers with the farmland numbers to see how much it's going to cost you to buy any one particular field. Now this map does have a custom soil map, so let's go ahead and see how that soil map is being applied to the fields. And in the portion of the map that does have fields applied, you see that the vast majority of the soil types is loam, with little strips of sandy loam over here to the east, and then over to the west, we do have some loam and silty clay. Taking a look at our crop counter, we do have the standard base game crop counter also available on this map. And if we look at our prices screen, you will see that we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops that are available to us once again in Farm Sim 22. We also have the ability to sell our animal outputs and eggs, wool, and milk, as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. As we move down through our base game production items, you once again see that we have the ability to sell all of the base game production items at a multitude of sell points. We also have the ability to buy bulk lime. We do have the ability to get rid of our stones at the metal and limestone factory. And then let's take a look at the massive list of custom production fill types. We have soybean oil, UHD milk, canned corn, canned olives, yogurt, tomato sauce, ketchup, pallets, carrots, watermelons, cabbage, soy milk, maintenance tools, drilling equipment, mining equipment, petroleum, gasoline, metal tubes, metal to melt. Now, do note the icon here. It's a recycling icon. It's the 3 green arrows in a triangle. We're going to see that icon pop up here in a little bit. For me, they're the same color. I don't know. I'm going to want to know from your all's thoughts in the comments if these 2 icons are the same color. And if they are, that's a pretty big problem, because you can see metal to melt is basically being able to be bought, or you can sell it at the city warehouse, export by train, or the metal and limestone factory. When we get to the recyclable products, you're going to see that they're going to go at completely different areas. So if the icons are exactly the same, how do you know what you have? I think that's going to be a problem. We have metal beams, vehicle parts, gasoline, or gas in propane style tanks. We have motor oil, wooden beams, long plants, cement, concrete blocks, and here it is again, recyclable trash. Now, recyclable trash will go to export by train, so those 2 are shared, or the recycling center. We have chocolate cake, concentrated herbicide, concentrated liquid fertilizer, iron ore, dirt, sand. Then we move down through the platinum expansion, and we do indeed have the ability to sell all of the platinum expansion production items as well. And then lastly, we do have the ability to also sell our separated manure. Taking a look at our vehicle overview, we do own all of our equipment. None of it is leased, and it's all fairly well maintained. We do not have any animals at the start. We do have contracts available on this particular map, and we start out by owning a small greenhouse. Now, do note that this small greenhouse is modified. It is going to be accepting water, seed, fertilizer, and pallets. And therefore, it's going to be exporting or creating tomatoes, lettuce, strawberries, carrots, watermelon, and cabbage. We do have 15 collectibles also available on this map. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the New Holland 8340 small tractor, as well as the Case IH 7250 Pro medium tractor. We have the New Holland TX32 harvester. We have the Schaefer 4670T telehandler. We have our 1958 Apache pickup truck. We have our Rudolph TDK 301RA trailer. For our New Holland harvester, we do have a grain header, the TX32 grain header. We have the Enduro Pro 5000F cultivator. We have the TerraSim C6F seeder. We have the Dalbo Power Roll 1230 HD roller. We have the Cuverlin iExter B18 sprayer in herbicide spreader. We have the Breedall K105 fertilizer and lime spreader. We've got our universal bucket for our telehandler and a pallet fork. Sorry, we have a universal bucket for our front loader and a pallet fork for our telehandler. We have a low loader trailer as well as our header trailer for our harvester. We've got a 2,300 kilogram and 600 kilogram front weights. We have the Convey All 1690 auger, as well as some Meridian TL 1239 belt system. And then we round it out with the MKS 8 trailer. And that trailer has been set up to haul various fuels, diesel and gasoline, as well as oil, water, milk, our liquid fertilizer and fertilizer concentrate. I would assume that was why that is duplicated there. We have our herbicide and herbicide concentrate, as well as slurry and digestate. Now, with respect to our mods and DLCs, we do have some custom items that are a part of the map, including, of course, the custom vehicles and implements that are listed as required mods. We have the Case 721G front loader. We have the MKS 8 liquid tanker, as well as the MKS 32 liquid tanker. We can buy a pallet full of pallets, and then we can buy containers of maintenance tools. You see, we do have a custom vehicle shop here as well. So we buy a container of maintenance tools, drilling equipment, mining equipment, vehicle parts, gas, motor oil, cement, concentrated herbicide, or concentrated liquid fertilizer. Now, before we move on, let's go ahead and pick up a chainsaw. And let's talk about these residential areas, because there are cuttable signposts. And you can get rid of the buildings here by cutting these signposts. But there is a caveat in the fact that there are dumpsters scattered around that do not go away when you cut down these signposts. So if you cut this particular signpost down after you buy the land, you will get rid of the residential houses in Farmland ID 3. With the exception of these dumpsters. So you're going to find these dumpsters scattered around. And these dumpsters are going to remain because they do not go away when you sell them. Now it says pallet. Recyclable trash. So that is interesting. These are possibly, now that I'm looking at this in much closer detail, these appear to be things that you can pick up and haul away as recyclable trash. And that would explain 100% why they remain when you sell everything else. Now the hedges also remain, but you can sell the hedges. Over here we have the other sign that is going to be working for Farmland ID 2 to clear out those buildings. Again, there are a couple dumpsters that will remain, and they appear to be recyclable trash as opposed to just something you can't get rid of. Now, with respect to the Farmland ID 5, which is another residential area, you're going to find its cuttable sign over here. So we have Farmland ID 5, and that is where you're going to find the sign for that. And then we have one more thing I want to show you before we take a look at our starting farm, which is right up there, by the way. And that is what to cut for getting rid of this wall. That is inside of this area, clearly the parking area for the well, for the police and the paramilitary. We have this sign, and if you buy Farmland ID 100, like I said earlier, you can cut this sign down, and the southern part of the wall will vanish. So the southern and western portions. Over here at our main starting farm, we do start out with a decent amount of starting equipment. I want to show you the dirt road. So here we have our road, and then we have the fill type dirt that's just kind of scattered all over the place, making this whole road rather bumpy. And you can come in here with a bucket or with a silage leveler and kind of shove this off to the side of the road and basically smooth out the road, make it easier to traverse. Now what you're going to find is you're going to find a lot of roads are going to be covered by this dirt. And what I don't really know is if we can buy the various areas that are covered in that dirt. Are we going to be able to really pick these up? Or are you going to possibly need some sort of mod that is going to allow you to collect off of land you do not own? Inside the gate here at our main farm, we've got our little dog house there. We've got a nice open shed with a lot of our machinery in. You saw the 3-bay garage shed there. We have a pile of lime right over here next to the shed. We have our fertilizer spreader. We have our modified small greenhouse. We have our farmhouse. And I was going to say that certain things on the farm we couldn't sell, like, once again, this dumpster. But as it turns out, this dumpster is a movable item. It is recyclable trash. So you're expected to take this recyclable trash to the recycling center. And then inside of here, we're going to find our sleep trigger. Right there. Got multiple entrances into and out of our farm. And we can sell the gates. We also can sell the fences. And it's an interesting setup for your auger. You're under the shed like that. Now let's go ahead and get a little bit of altitude. We'll get our first peeps over the wall at our oil fields. Our oil refinery. We have a train transfer station way off in the distance. Then off further in the distance, way off the map playable area, we've got kind of a apocalyptic city off in the distance. So I don't really know what the premise is of this map. Like I said, it's a really interesting idea here because in the northeast we have a city, and a lot of the city is outside the playable area. And then we have our town, and then we have our farmland, our forestry areas, our production areas on this side of the wall. And over here we have vast nothingness. Now, of course, there's nothing preventing you from buying this land that we're looking straight at and carving it up into agricultural fields. I did try to sell the oil pump areas, and they are not sellable. So everything that's got oil extractors, I guess if you wanted to buy the land, you could plow it up, but you're going to have to work around those extractors and everything. And then we have, of course, the massive refinery here to the north. Below, we've got a multitude of sell points and production points, as you can see by all the little hotspots on the map. It's going to take us quite a long time to go through these when we do our drive around portion. A little bit of a city, but there's not a whole lot of this city that we can really explore before we do kind of get off the map boundary. We have our vehicle shop. So you can see where we start out at. You can see kind of where our starting farm is located then with respect to the vehicle shop. We've got some high rises, apartments being built over here, kind of off the map edge. Then we move into our agricultural areas. We do have a couple additional farms, as I mentioned. We have a cow farm located directly below here. Then we have a horse farm right across the river. And here you can see, like I was saying about the implementation of the dirt. So your dirt starts right here at the main road. And pretty much every bit of road beyond this is covered in this dirt fill type. Can we buy the land that this road is on? Well, that's the question. We can buy basically the properties on either side of the road. Does this land then include the road? I don't know. Are you going to have to own all of these fields in order to clear this road? Or are you going to have to own this forested area to clear that portion of the road? I would hope not, right? It would be nice if you do have to own all of this, if you could buy just the road itself and then pretend you're kind of the city, the municipality, and you've bought the road and now you have to maintain the road. I just don't know how well this is going to work out from a practical standpoint unless you do indeed have to own either all of the forest in order to get access to the road or each particular field plot, again, to get access to the road. Move further in between here. You can see one of those homestead trailers I was talking about. There's going to be a homestead tent over here somewhere. And here to the southwest, we have our mine operation. Way back here under the ground, we have our mine. And this is a production. We're going to be taking a closer look at the production, at all of the custom production, because there are 22 production items on this map. We're going to take a look at those when we get done the flyover here. But basically, what we have going on with this map, we have a small greenhouse at our main starting farm. We then have a dairy. We have a food factory, a bakery, a carpentry. We have a tailor, BGA. We have a pallet factory, a grain mill, sawmill, a spinnery. We have metal and limestone factory. We have an imports factory, oil refinery. We have 5 oil extractors. We have a mine, a cakery that makes cakes specifically, and a concrete block factory. Now over here at the BGA, if we buy the land, that's good. We also have to buy the BGA. It's kind of a double buy there, right? Wish you could buy the BGA by just buying the land as opposed to both of those. But if you own the BGA and you own the land, you can get rid of everything that you see here. And at that point, you can then build out your own biogas plant. Let's make our way off into the barren wasteland and check out our refinery, check out our pumping stations, and our train transfer station. Got a nice loading dot down here with cranes moving our containers around. Let's make our way outside the gate, barricaded by our paramilitary force. And now we have sand along the roads. So we have a sand fill type now also outside the gate that is kind of piled up along all the roads. Going across the roads at some points. So we have our massive oil refinery. And then we have 5 pumping stations. That is the map boundary. So this is our playable area. And these pumping stations are basically all the same, just kind of scattered around. Again, as you can see, we have sand piled up on either side of these. And as I mentioned, these pumping stations are permanently a part of the map. We cannot get rid of those. But of course, if we do buy the land, we could dig kind of the soil up around those. We got a little bit of a oasis and a nice welcoming tent. Sounds of the generator running to provide creature comforts at our oasis. Then we have our train transfer silo. And then the train enters the gate, or enters the wall, and it makes its way around the map. We have a nice paramilitary silo, or not silo, but helicopter flying around as well. Yeah, it's just an interesting premise here. It really just feels like you're kind of in a post-apocalyptic world here, where there's a reason we are gated off from the outside. Let's make our way back over to our dealership. We'll get our Mahindra, and then we will we'll check out all of the custom production that is on this map, because it is a lot. And I think there's a lot of people that are going to really enjoy this type of map because we have such unique production going on. Let's go ahead and do a rundown of the production. So we have our small greenhouse. We've already talked about our small greenhouse. The dairy is going to accept milk, pallets, and sugar. It's going to take butter, cheese, and chocolate, as well as UHT milk. Now notice some of the output is going to be our product, as well as a little bit of recyclable trash. We have then our food factory, which is going to be able to produce sunflower oil, canola oil, olive oil, soybean oil, canned corn, tomato sauce, canned olives, ketchup, soy milk, raisins, and grape juice. Once again, we're going to be accepting sunflowers, pallets, canola, olives, soybeans, corn, water, tomato, sugar, and grapes. And then all of those productions are also going to be creating various amounts of recyclable trash. We have our bakery, which is going to accept flour, milk, pallets, gas, sugar, eggs, butter, and strawberries. And we're going to be able to make bread and cakes out of that. And once again, a little bit of recycled trash. Our carpentry is fairly standard. We're going to input logs and we're going to output planks and long planks, as well as wood chips. Our tailor is going to take fabric and pallets and make clothing and recycled trash. We have our BGA, which is going to take our normal fill plates of silage, slurry, manure, and sugar be cut and produce digestate. Our pallet factory is going to take logs and create pallets and wood chips. Our grain mill is going to be wheat, barley, oats, sorghum, corn, flour, and soybean flour. And it's going to require pallets as well. Our sawmill is going to take logs and create planks, wood chips, wooden beams, and long planks. And of course, its output is also going to be some wood chips. Our fabric factory is going to take wool and cotton as well as pallets and make fabric and recycled trash. Then we move into our metal and limestone factory. And this one is where it gets a little interesting. We have iron ore and wooden beams to make manufactured metal tubes. We have iron ore, wooden beams, and then we're also going to get metal beams. We have manufactured metal tubes. Again, this is going to be recyclable metal, or metal to melt, and wooden beams. Then we have metal to melt and wooden beams to make our manufactured metal beams. Again, we have lime, which is going to be stones to make some lime. And then we have vehicle manufactured parts. That's going to be iron ore, and it's then going to make those manufactured vehicle parts. Lizard imports. This is kind of an interesting concoction. With the mixture of diesel fuel, maintenance tools, vehicle parts, and motor oil, well, you're going to be able to get metal to melt and recycled trash. And once again, for me, these are the same color. I do have a little bit of color blindness, so I don't know. Maybe they're not the same color for everybody. I would love to know down in the comments below, because using the exact same icon for two different fill types is never going to be a good idea if they are indeed the same color. If they're not the same color, they're so darn close that they might as well be for some portion of the player base. We can import flour, once again, with a combination of diesel, maintenance tools, vehicle parts, pallets, and motor oil. And pretty much the same is going to be working down here for butter, fabric, sugar, honey, raisins, tomatoes, strawberries, planks, cement. We can import drilling equipment this way. We can also import mining equipment, and we can import eggs. We can manufacture gas in bottles, gasoline in raw format, diesel fuel in raw format, and oil in barrels by having petroleum, pallets, and maintenance tools. We can extract oil from the ground by using drilling equipment, and then we're going to get 1,400 liters of petroleum. From the mine, we're going to take maintenance tools, mining equipment, motor oil, vehicle parts, and diesel fuel. And that is going to then manufacture iron ore and stones. our cakery. The recipe's kind of hard to read here, but basically it's 2 flour, 2 sugar, 2 milk, 2 eggs, 2 butter, 2 strawberries, 0.2 pallets, and 0.1 gas. And that's going to make 5 cakes and a little bit of recyclable trash. Then we have the option of making chocolate cake. And then we have the option of doing concrete blocks, which is going to be water, cement, sand, and pallets to make concrete blocks and recyclable trash. Quite the interesting list of production, I think. So here we are at a Case IH dealer. Once again, we have our shop trigger inside. Let's go ahead and pick up our Mahindra. And then we have our maintenance trigger, which is going to be back here in the workshop for our dealer trigger. And the dealer trigger itself is actually going to be located outside. Now, it is not marked, but it is going to be located right outside the door here. We do have operating hours, so I would expect this facility to be opened and closed at specific times of the day. So I do often get comments from folks talking about I couldn't get out of the shop. The gate wouldn't open. It's probably because those sell points are timed, and you need to wait till the appointed time for those gates to open, just like this particular shop on this map. Now, let's start checking out all these hotspots, because there are aplenty. So settle in for the ride. So this is going to take a little bit of time. So we have our dealer, we have a vehicle shop. All right, let's do it. There we have our pickup truck. We do start out with a couple sets of pallets in the back of that pickup truck. We have Clever Motors, and it is set up as a sell point. Here around back, the loading dock. We got a pickup truck getting loaded on a flatbed. Let's make our way in the exit. That's what we normally do. You see inside here we got dirt, we got plates, we've got wood, we've got a dumping ground here at this construction site. And then right next door to that, we have our grain elevator. Now, something that I did notice with respect to this dirt is it is deforming as I am driving over it. So it is kind of set up as silage. So just the mere act of driving on it will somewhat level it out over time. Scale, so this is our in. Over here we have our sell point for City Warehouse. Wonder if... Oh, these are recyclable trash too. So we may be able to go around and pick up all the dumpsters for a little free money. How much it ends up being worth it, I don't really know. All these roads and all these entrances. It's a little difficult. Figure out where we are going here. Ma Familia restaurant. We have our dump point there. There's a lot of background sounds. I don't know how well those are coming through in the video. I'm a little worried about some of them. Maybe triggering a monetization deal. So we've got another sell point over here. At our trucking facility. Okay. Cakery. That's what we're looking at. Once you get on this map for a while, obviously you're going to be able to much better navigate the roads. Somebody mentioned before they hadn't seen a map with this thing, but like I said in that comment, that came from Hope of the Ruin base game map. So over here we have the vintage visuals sell point, and then we have our cakery. So our dump point for our cakery there. Vintage visuals. Dumpster galore. I mean, you could almost just spend time on the map just going around picking up dumpsters. I wonder if the dumpsters spawn over time. So we have our interactive icon for our cakery. We have our semi-idling here. I assume that's what that sound is for. Our grocery store. And oh my gosh, we got just... Is it closing time? Why do we have all these people just filing out all at the same time? We have our dump point for our grocery. But really, if we can go and sell all of those dumpsters, I mean, they're 1,000 liters. How much is this recyclable trash? Yeah, I mean, you're going to get $300 per dumpster. It's manageable. Got a sell point here in town. I feel like I've likely missed a few. We're a bowling alley, and then right next door we have our main starting farm. Starting farm's down that road. We have our tailor. Base game tailor. We have our base game bakery. We're going to come around here back to our dump and pallet point. Let's head out of town. We have a couple sell points here at these construction sites. Coming here into this dirt road. Oh, we can cut this signpost down and clear this land out. And that is going to be part of Farmland 64. Piles of dirt over here. Piles of dirt along all those roads. And then we have the two sell points here at these buildings being built. Make our way over here. There we have the other sell point. The field to our right is our starting field in new farmer mode. The sell point here at our fuel point. And then we have the Frontier PD. That's where we're going to find that sign to cut to get rid of the Great Wall. We have our carpentry over here as well. Here we have the recycling center. All types of trash and dumpsters. We have our pallet warehouse production. So we have our interactive icon. Wood cell point, wood cell trigger. We have our wood chip point. Something that I'm not really seeing evident is where the pallets are going to spawn at some of this custom production. We have our farmer's market. Sell point here. as well as back there. And we'll just continue to progress down the road. Seems like every building is its own thing. Here we have our dairy and bale and pallet storage. We have our bale and pallet storage there. We have our dairy. I'm guessing that is our pallet spawn point. We have our dump point and our interactive point over there at the entrance. And then we move in here to our a bale sell point here. Again, we've got this generous use of dirt at the entrance of this sell point. Our entrance up in here into the forested area where we do have a homestead. Then this portion of the wall can be removed. We've got a custom train skin over here alongside us. Not really sure why we have train gates there when the train is running parallel with the road, but okay. Now we do have the ability to open these gates to the outside world. And this portion of the road is completely covered over in sand. Nice little campground up there. The fuel and fuel cell point. Got a logistics cell point here. Another bale and pallet storage. Lots of cell points going on down here. So we have our bale and pallet storage. We have a fabric factory. We have a concrete block factory as well. So we're dump point for our concrete block factory. Our interactive icon. And then what I assume is going to be our pallet loading point here. At the loading zone. Then we have our fabric factory, so we have our dump point, our interactive point, and loading zone. Whoa, we just lost all semblance of traction. Then we're going to have another little grocery store back here with a sell point. Now, with respect to, can the farms be customizable? I was all prepared to take a quarter of a point off because of those dumpsters. But as it turns out, I believe those dumpsters are actually pick-upable and sellable down at the recycling bin. So we're going to change that back up to a full point with respect to can the farms be customizable. Because I believe now they are indeed customizable to the fullest extent. Well, there is one building that I don't think we can get rid of, and that is over at the cow barn. So we will talk about that here in a little bit. Metal and limestone factory, so we're a dump point for our stone and other inputs. We're a pallet spawn point. Another dump point there. We're a pallet spawn point here at the loading dock in our interactive icon. Again, you can see dirt literally everywhere. Let's make our way down this road once again. And we'll head down another road where we have some other items to take a look at. Small fields for the most part for this map, because so much of the map is taken up by sell points or just vast openness of nothing. Of course, we're going to give the map a full point with respect to the ability to sell our base products, animal outputs, and production points. Let's go ahead and make our way. This should be the lane over into the cow farm, I hope. Nope. Cow farm's over here on the left, on the other side of the river. Here we have the lane to the horse farm, completely covered in dirt. Oh, we got a bridge. That's nice. So as far as our horse farm goes, we can sell everything here at the horse farm, with the exception of these metal plates. So these metal plates, they don't go away because they're metal to melt. Oh, wow. They're not decorative. They're sellable. So they do go away. Strike that entire comment. So we have our farm silo, our dump and fill point here. I didn't buy this farm, so that's why the triggers aren't popping up. We do have our horse area here. And then if we sell this barn, right? This is the barn from Elm Creek that has 2 different levels. Inside of here, we will find a hole, a post that we can cut, and it will get rid of these kind of structured concrete forms around the barn. So that would then free the barn up with respect to customizing the land around it. I think instead of driving over to the cow area, we'll just jump across the river. So we do have our cow barn with our feeding robot. And if we buy this, we do have cows already. Now this building I could not sell. This building has a concrete, well, a workshop trigger, dealer trigger right there. But I couldn't sell that particular building. I tried. It wouldn't go away. We have our silage bunker. I could sell everything else. But, again, my metal plates, which I now learn is 5,000 liters of metal to melt. I also learned that our dumpster, which I couldn't get rid of, is recyclable trash. So that explains that. But I can't get rid of the building. Right? The building isn't, like, somehow destructible. So, I think we're going to hold to 0.75 for our farms being customizable because of the fact that we do have that one shed that for whatever reason we can't get rid of. Now, while I like the idea of this dirt, I just think it's going to be a bit annoying. Quite frankly, because I'm not really sure if we're going to be able to scoop all this dirt up. On all this land that we don't own. And as you can see, it does deform when we drive on it. So it's kind of set up as silage. As far as buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique, we haven't looked at our ground textures. We haven't looked at build mode at all. Honestly, I got a little sidetracked with everything else going on with this map. See here, you can see it deforming. So we've seen areas where the dirt deforms and areas where the dirt does not deform. So I'd almost be willing to bet if you're finding the dirt deforming, you're going to be able to pick it up. If you're finding areas where the dirt doesn't deform, you're not going to be able to pick that up without buying some type of land. So we've got our milk sale point as well as Ravenwood farm sell point. So before hay, straw, and grass. Again, we got dumpsters. We got those metal plates all over the place. Before we do wrap the video, we will go ahead and take a look at build mode. Now we have our grain mill. So we have our interactive icon directly ahead. We have our dump point. We have our pallet spawn point around the back. These metal plates are everywhere. Well, let's see if this is going to take me up to the mine or not. I don't think it will. We'll see. I haven't driven around all of these areas. I do have deformable dirt here. No, our mine is down there. So there's our mine. Down there. So here in our mine, we have a couple dump points. We have a dump point here. We have a fill point down here inside the mine. And then up here we have our interactive icon. But as far as how we got here, I guess this road. This road does wrap around. Maybe we were on the right road. Here's one of those little homesteads. With our tent and then our pole that we can cut down. Yeah, we were on the right road. We were indeed. Now, the only thing that we haven't looked at this point is going to be our train silo. For the sake of time, I'm just going to jump up here to our train silo. We have a rent train icon. Right, we have our dump point there. What I am not seeing is our get things out of the silo trigger. Have our dump point there. I would assume that the fill point would be there as well. And then let's make our way over here to one of these pumping stations. So we can buy it for some amount of money. We have a dump point. We have a draw point for our oil. And we'll come over here to our refinery. So we have our interactive icon here at the refinery. We have our dump point to go into our refinery. Another dump point there. We have bale and pallet storage. And then we have our fill point for our refinery. Then we have the refinery entrance right there. Now let's take a look at build mode. Got things a little bit out of order here on this particular map look at because, man, it's just so much stuff. So given the fact that we have required mods, we do have several sheds that are a part of the required mods pack. As far as silos, we do have a bale and pallet storage for those large containers. Right, remember we can buy basically containers. So that's going to work for that. Silo extensions, containers, tools. For the most part are standard. We have a few here. We have our farmhouse tents and such. As far as production goes, sadly we do not have the ability to place any of the custom production down here other than the BGA, and the BGA is fairly standard. But it would have been nice to have seen the ability to place down our custom production points. Same goes with respect to our sell points. We do have 3 different sizes of those modified greenhouses. Under animals, we do have occasionally some modified animals here. Decoration, we do have some modded fences and gates. as well as utility poles. And then for our ground textures, we've got a decent listing of ground textures. Nothing that I would say would be overly earth-shattering as far as what we have here. We have our animal mud, we have our asphalt, another form of asphalt, some concrete, some dirt, different color to dirt, even more dirt, forest ground, grass, dry grass, if you will, another form of grass. Then we have our assorted gravels that we've seen on other maps. Different types of green in there. We have our another variant of animal mud. We have concrete. Another flavor of concrete. That looks like the gravel dust again. Darker gravel. Then we have our stone choices there. Standard plants, other than some meadow and another form of meadow there. Then we've got all standard trees with the pine trees intermixed. There we have our field types. Now let's run down through our score to wrap this video up. Give the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. We're also going to be giving the map a full point with respect to the ability to sell all of our custom inputs, outputs, or sorry, base game inputs, outputs, and crops. We're going to be giving the map 3/4 of a point with respect to the ability to customize our farm, because we do have that one concrete building that we cannot get rid of. We're going to be giving the map a 1/2 point with respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique, because a lot of the buildings downtown have come from various other iterations of Farm Sim, and a lot of these city buildings that we can get to are just using kind of flatter textures. So we are going to give the map a 1/2 point there. And with respect to player and interactive areas being clearly marked, I'm going to be giving the map 3/4 of a point there as well, because of the fact that we do not have kind of markers at our dealer trigger here at our vehicle dealer. And I feel that we could probably have a little better markings at some of these other production areas. We've got things marked out as loading zones, but not overly apparent that that's where your pallets are going to be spawning until they do actually spawn. So overall, that's going to give this map a score of 4 out of 5. Really an interesting take on a farm sim map. We've got high-rise cities. We've got construction going on. We've got paramilitary air helicopters flying around. We got giant walls protecting us from the outside desert, and who knows whatever else. Love to know what your all's thoughts are down in the comments below with respect to the Frontier map. And until next time, happy farming.